paralyzed Tzu Chi care recipient reciprocates Tzu Chi's assistance after his bodily functions improved. We look at the history of how Islam spread in Indonesia in the 15th century. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Siri Su. Thank you for joining us. In Keelung, Taiwan, a care recipient Lan Renyi was paralyzed due to a bone spur surgery failure. 5 years ago, Tzu Chi volunteers began to help him receive rehabilitation therapy at Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital. Later, he saved the money to take the bus and put it into his bamboo coin bank to help others in need.
I had 3 surgeries and I've been incontinent. There are lots of excrement because I can't control myself. I drag myself to clean up the kitchen like this, and I've been doing this for about half a year. I even scraped the skin on my butt and you can see the bone. I've lived like a living dead. Everyone left me when I became paralyzed. There's really just Tzu Chi volunteers that are closer to me than my brothers and sisters. The first year, it was mainly Sister Zhang Shoulan. She came almost every day.
He really wants to stand up. When he was in the hospital, he's never in bed every time my husband and I visited him. He went to the rehabilitation himself and practiced walking there. I can feel that this person really wants to stand up and not give up his life. When we first saw him, he was about to give up his life.
Tzu Chi has helped me greatly since 5 years ago, so I'm saving the money to take the bus to help more people in need.
He puts $100 this time. He always takes train from Shaanxi to the hospital. The rehabilitation bus costs $35 per trip, and the train costs less than $10 for a round trip. So he saved the money and put it in the coin bank.
In Hualien, Taiwan, Mr. Shi and his family of 5 are all physically and mentally challenged. Mr. Shi suffers from diabetes and fractured his left ankle. He has been referred to Taipei Tzu Chi Hospital's home service agency. After a preliminary visit, the hospital found Mr. Shi's living environment was a mess. Therefore, they mobilized 8 volunteers to help clean his home.
Trash and clutter are piled together with food and beverages being left everywhere. This is where Mr. Shi lives with his family. Putting on the raincoats and wearing the mask and gloves, volunteers from the Hualien Tzu Chi Hospital come to Mr. Shi's home to help clean. After lifting up the bed frame, one can see cockroaches in the house along with the children's pets going everywhere.
I've worked as a home care attendant for more than 6 years, and I've never seen this situation before. The main point is that the uncle should have a shower. If you don't get him clean, his wounds won't heal.
All of the Shi family are physically and mentally challenged patients. The Health Bureau's Long-Term Care Service Center has referred them to the Hualien Tzu Chi Hospital for home services.
After assessing their situation, we found out this is not something that a home care attendant alone will be able to help them. It needs a volunteer team to come to help. Later, we'll come every day to help this family keep their home clean.
After 3 hours of cleaning, nearly 80 bags of garbage were cleared out. Volunteers also gave this family clean quilts and mattresses to prevent domestic accidents and diseases.
Integration of medical resources and long-term care has been a pressing problem. The new Taipei city government has recently come up with a new program which gives home care staff members more responsibility in coordinating patients with a specialized care team of medical professionals. The insertion of the nasogastric tube always takes around 2 hours. It breaks my heart every time she gets it changed.
When Ms. Zhong thinks back to the painful process of her mother's NG tube changes, her heart breaks immediately. It wasn't until the multidisciplinary care program was available did her anxiety and stress lower. This patient is the perfect candidate for the multidisciplinary care program because her life widely benefits from the services provided. In the case of Grandma Zhong, home care staff can go directly into the home and help assess any medical needs.
Directly going to the home to assess the situation gives us the most up-to-date information on the patient's health. For example, part of the aging process, many components are deteriorating. Thanks to the new program, we can have speech therapists, specialized doctors, nutritionists, etc., all working together to improve the everyday life quality of the patient.
In the past, medical resources and long-term care were operating on a parallel structure. It wasted a lot of time for patients whenever they needed a specific service. The new Taipei City Health Bureau, along with medical staff, noticed this area was lacking. So that was why the multidisciplinary care program came about. This created a one-stop shop for all medical resources, which in turn helps all parties involved.
In Vietnam, Minh Duc Charitable Foundation has been holding free clinics and distributions in remote regions since it was established. As it celebrates its 15th anniversary, Minh Duc Charitable Foundation has held a free clinic and large distribution in central Vietnam. At the occasion, volunteers from Taiwanese Buddhist organizations also helped out. In celebration of its 15th anniversary, Minh Duc Charitable Foundation has held a large distribution in Hia Han District. On the second day, volunteers distributed more than 4,000 supplies.
I think this activity is very good, and with a free clinic for us old people, they let us bring supplies home. I am happy to feel the love and care from charitable organizations.
I felt a bit hungry as it is near lunchtime. The volunteers gave us some French bread. It is very good. I appreciate the volunteers for helping us.
At the distribution side, there are all kinds of service for impoverished residents. Besides food and supplies, a team from Ho Chi Minh City is providing free haircuts. They've joined the free clinics for more than 10 years.
We follow the Dharma masters to carry out charitable work. I feel good helping people like this. Helping people also benefits ourselves.
To encourage the children to pursue their dreams, Dharma Master Ting Chang from Taiwan is giving out stationery.
I think all of these children are very cute. I hope they can imagine what his future dream is like. What kind of person does he want to become? Then they can start working toward that goal from now on.
Every supply is imbued with the volunteers' best wishes. Both the volunteers and recipients are filled with joy and appreciation for each other. Indonesia has the largest Muslim population in the world. Islam took root in Indonesia when Admiral Zheng He was commissioned to command a treasure fleet for the expeditions in the 15th century. Here's our in-depth report. On the streets of Indonesia, most passers-by are Muslim. Arab traders have brought Islam to Indonesia when they first conducted business along the coast in the 13th century. However, the religion took root when the Ming treasure voyages took place in the beginning of the 15th century. In 1405, Admiral Zheng He was commissioned to command the treasure fleet for the expeditions. During the 28 years, he went to Indonesia 7 times, accomplishing his missions as well as spreading Islam. In South Sumatra and Java Island, along the Muslim Chinese communities on the coast, there are many Chinese-style mosques. At Sampo Kong, there's the tallest statue of Zhenghe in Southeast Asia.
There are different stories. One of the versions is that Zhenghe came to Semarang in 1406 or 1412, where Sampo Kong is located. Many local Chinese believe that Zheng is a saint who can spread blessings, and therefore many Chinese people gather here over the years.
In Semarang, besides a large population of Chinese, there's also a Malay village where local Islam began spreading. Looking at the mosque, one can see a combination of three kinds of cultures.
Itu orang dari Melayu, orang Jawa, orang Arab, orang India.
There are different ethnicities at the Malay village, including Java people, Arabs, and Indians. Therefore, the mosque incorporates three cultures. While the kiosk design is from Java Island, the main building is from the Middle East, while the walls are European style.
Dari Timur Tengah atau Arab, dan bagian dinding-dindingnya dari Eropa.
In addition to the buildings, the people's hearts have also been joined.
Walaupun di situ banyak juga terdapat.
There are many temples and non-Muslims near the mosque. However, from the past till now, the devotees of different religions have never had conflicts. Instead, we help each other out.
Jawa dari ini, mereka ada macam-macam agama, tapi hubungan kami.
Smartphones have only been common in the past few decades, though 3C products are now an indispensable part of modern life. Many people worry that the blue light used in the screen of many 3C products may cause harm to our eyes. However, blue light is a part of the natural spectrum of light, and there's no proof of the damage to our eyes.
In the past few years, we have undertaken a number of different measures, including cooperation with schools and health agencies. We want to promote vision care, but our opponents' 3C products are even more powerful.
Experts have suggested that when using 3C products for half an hour, one should take a rest of between 5 to 15 minutes. However, 3C products can be really difficult to quit, with a number of people issuing warnings about blue light.
Human life depends upon how the sun interacts with the earth. When you go to sleep, blue light naturally decreases. But in the daytime, you feel quite energetic because there is lots of light, and blue light gives you lots of stimuli. So in a day, you need red, yellow, green, and blue light.
The secret to light lies in the color spectrum. In the visible light spectrum of the human eye, there are 7 colors: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. The longest wavelength is red light, and the shortest violet, with blue light being the 5th.
This is the sensitivity of our eyes to the brightness of different wavelengths. The horizontal axis is the wavelength, so we are sensitive to green light. The sensitivity to red light is relatively low. That is to say, given the same brightness, green light will feel brighter and red light will feel darker. How does blue light compare to green light? I think that it is about 1/10, and compared to red light, about 1% or 0.1%.
The energy of the blue light is higher than the energy of the red light at a specific luminosity, so the damage it can cause will be higher. But this has to be at a certain luminosity, and if it isn't the same as the normal light we came into contact with, then it can cause damage to our retina.
From the eye's structure, we can see that light enters the eye from the outermost point, which is the pupil, then passing through the lens to the retina. Each layer filters light waves. What type of light hurts the eye? At National Central University's Optics and Photonics Department, special research equipment, such as a brightness meter, measures the degree of light emitted by objects.
We are testing now the luminance of an environment. Each unit is called nit. You could say that 550 nits is a very bright environment, so we generally observe it at about 150 to 300. This student has measured this mobile phone to be 230 nits.
The brightness of computer monitors is between 150 and 550 nits. A smartphone is 230 nits, and white paper is only 79 nits, and traditional mobile phone is only 75.3 nits. When using 3C products, it is important to pay attention to its brightness. Using cell phones or computers in the dark could hurt your eyes.
We'll do an experiment to show you how important it is to control the light in a particular environment. We'll use a camera to look at the size of his pupil. Here we put a 3C product in front of him and see that his pupil size may change. If your 3C product is brighter than the overall light environment, your pupil will be overexposed, potentially damaging your eyes.
Instead of trying to filter out the blue light, some experts say it is better to pay more attention to proper lighting and pairing the use of smartphones in suitably lit environments. Many believe we should follow the same guidance as wearing sunglasses on bright days as the best way to protect our eyes.
Research has found that smoking can lead to eyesight deterioration, with nicotine reducing the amount of tears and causing dry eyes. When tears cannot protect the cornea, it can become inflamed with potential vision loss.
Smoking not only affects the lungs, but can also impact one's eyes. One 30-year-old woman who has been smoking for 10 years complained that she was adverse to daylight and suffered from dry eyes and blurred vision. Her eyesight also decreased as an exam found that smoke caused her to suffer from chronic dry eye.
Nicotine affects our parasympathetic nervous system. When your nicotine concentration is too high, it will make the eye mucous layer thinner, making tears easier to absorb suddenly, causing eyes to become very dry.
The chance of suffering from dry eye can vary from person to person, but as one gets older, the layer of mucus in the eyes becomes thinner. Therefore, after middle age, especially menopausal women and those genetically disposed to dry eyes may see smoking increased likelihood of disease.
Women's eyes are affected by the hormones, so before and after menopause, dry eye may become more severe. The women who smoke again may suffer from more dry eye symptoms.
Physicians recommend that you regularly check the condition of your eyes and add more nuts or linseed oil to your diet to help the mucus layer of your eyes. Furthermore, don't let the momentary happiness of smoking damage your eyes.
In Taiwan, a woman in Taichung suffered from persistent fevers and joint pain. Later, she was diagnosed with adult-onset Still's disease, which is inflammatory disease. Let's take a look. 58-year-old Ms. Wang recalls that when she suffered the onset of the illness, she had joint pain and persistent fever.
After taking antipyretic, the fever improved, but it happened again in a day or two. I feel pain in my joint.
Ms. Wang is diagnosed with the rare adult-onset Still's disease. It often happens to people between the ages of 20 to 40. The patients suffer from high fever and joint pain. The condition is often overlooked at the beginning.
The patients have persistent fever and some people develop rash. They might mistakenly think it is an allergy to the medicine. The occurrence rate is 3 to 5 people in every 100,000 people.
A research has shown that among 87 patients, 90% of them will have fevers 2 to 4 times in a day, and the body temperature might reach 41 degrees. Some children also have similar symptoms. Doctors usually prescribe steroid or immunosuppressant drugs. Very few patients are aware that it's actually a rare disease. According to a survey, esophageal cancer is listed number 9 of the top 10 cancer death rate. Many patients need to undergo chemotherapy to make the tumor smaller. However, there's a new way to conduct the surgery that can decrease the complications.
From the endoscopy, you can see the 6-centimeter esophageal tumor. This patient has been drinking alcohol and smoking until a year ago as he experienced problems swallowing, and the doctor told him that his cancer has transferred to the lymph already.
There's no nerves in the esophagus, so when we find out there's a tumor, it's often 2nd or 3rd stage already, and it's bigger. Therefore, we will first do chemotherapy to make the tumor smaller and then surgically remove it.
The esophageal cancer surgery requires removing the entire esophagus and pulling a part of the stomach. The esophagus is located deep in the chest where the respiratory tract, large blood vessels, and pulmonary veins are all nearby, which may cause major bleeding if not careful. Fortunately, there's the Da Vinci system for the surgery that can limit the size of the wound and lower the risk of complications.
The Da Vinci surgical system can in fact remove the tumor. In the past, there might be 15 to 40% of risk to damage the recurrent laryngeal nerve, but now since we can clean it better, we can decrease the risk to lower than 10%.
The doctor says that drinking, smoking, and eating betel nuts can raise the risk of having esophageal cancer to 79 times more than regular people. In addition, the habit of eating pickled food can be a dangerous risk factor as well. If you find yourself having trouble swallowing, feeling burning in the esophagus, or hoarseness of your voice, then you need to beware and have a check in the hospital.
Tzu Chi drum team has been practicing diligently for the tri-celebration ceremony taking place on the 2nd Sunday in May. This year, there are many parent-child duos that are participating. For many of the children, this is their way of practicing filial piety.
Drum team member Tzu Chi is a soldier in the national military. Due to practicing filial piety, she accepted her mother's offer to participate in the Tzu Chi drum team, which will be performing during the annual Buddha bathing ceremony in May. To her, Tzu Chi is a very foreign organization, but she's glad she has joined.
Coming here is a good way to practice my patience and learn conflict resolution.
Another child, Tzu Chi, came with his mother as well. All he has ever heard about Tzu Chi came from others or the media, but this year he would like to understand for himself.
During the practices, it really has a serene energy about it.
This year's Buddha bathing ceremony has increased in parent-child duels. Li Yike, who has just graduated from college in the U.S., really cherishes his time with his mother.
After we grow up, we realize that we actually want to spend more time with our parents. That is why I'm here today, using the drum team practices to spend more time with my mother. I feel like our relationship has really strengthened.
There are two things that cannot wait in this world: do good deeds and show filial piety. Young drum team participants are great examples of seizing the opportunity to do both.
In the United States, the DaAi Food Pantry has been going to Juanita Blakely Jones Elementary School to distribute food for more than a year. Recently, a company also donated clothes and toys for these families in need. We'll leave you with these images at the end of our program. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.